Welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your girl Christina. We are back for some review and recap of the Expanse Season 3, Episode 2, IFF. It has been a minute, y'all. It's been a minute since I have watched the Expanse. I really love this show a lot. I was really disheartened when I, heard all the upheaval about season 3. Sci-Fi stupidly canceled this show. They canceled this show before they canceled Z Nation. And I love me some Z Nation too, but on par of quality, this show is leaps and bounds above. So I have no idea what Sci-Fi was thinking when they canceled it, and it was very disheartening. And I had just gotten back into the idea of re-podcasting season 3 because everyone who's listening knows that I've kind of been moving between states and stuff, and I just had too much going on to keep up with that show. But just as I was about to get back into recording it again at the time, I heard it was getting canceled. So that really bummed me out, and I, just let it fall through. I completely failed in my duties of watching at the time to try to get it renewed, but, I just had too much going on, to be honest. So hearing that it got canceled, I just didn't have a whole lot of hope that it was going to get renewed. But it was picked up by Amazon Prime, and I could not be happier. It's the reason why I keep paying for Prime every month, to be honest. So congratulations, The Expanse. You're the reason why I pay for this subscription. And, the 2-day shipping's not bad. I've learned to shop a lot more online when I realize I can just get it in 2 days and I don't have to go in the store. So finally happy to get back into it. I really love this episode. I had my beef with the first episode. Anyone who wants to dig through some library of my recordings can find that one. But I know I was pretty bitter about how my girl Naomi was being treated, and I was, a little pissy at the show. So, I'm glad to see that this episode really kind of breathed away from that, and I was able to jump back into it, not having to, feel a certain way until things got better. So I'm glad I'm cheery on this recording. So a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to start, hopefully my audio sounds a lot better today. I have been messing around with the microphone, and I'm finally, learning how to work the damn thing, even though I should have already known and read the instruction manual. But I'm one of those people. I'm like, I'll just figure it out in time. So hopefully I sound a lot better. So I'm really wanting to work on my quality, and also trying to get a schedule together so that not only for you guys, so you know when I'm actually dropping an episode, but for myself so I can hold my ass accountable. So I will start posting on Twitter and on Tumblr when I'm going to be dropping the episode, but I have already, I should say, put on the schedule for the returning fall TV, and I haven't gotten to summer or spring yet. So these are the shows that I'm going to be doing now, and then as I finish things up, I'll just keep adding more things, and then eventually I'll probably pull out what some shows that you guys might have me listen to, or not listen to, have me watch, so that I can, record and see if I like it or not. And if I always give a show about about 5 episodes to know if I'm really gonna like it or not. And then if I don't, or if I sound really shitty every time and I'm not enjoying myself, then I'll stop recording it and I would, let you guys know. But for the most part, I'm going to be picking some shows that I have been wanting to get into and I have heard nothing but good things about. So I'm going to be doing on Tuesday The Passage that comes on Fox, I believe. Hopefully. It looks like a sci-fi zombie-ish kind of show. I didn't read the book. Apparently it's based on a book. It just looks kind of cool. And I really like that it has a little black girl in sci-fi. Because after The Girl with All the Gifts, that is my new favorite thing that I want to see all the time. I wish they would make a sequel to that movie. That would be great. Let me just put that out there in the universe. On Wednesday, I'm going to be dropping The Flash. When it returns, I believe next week. I'm pretty sure all these shows come back next week. And then on Thursday, I'll either be doing Haunting of Hill House or a Preacher episode until I finish one or the other up. I think they're both the same, but I'm not. Yeah, I think I'm just about on the same amount of episodes on each season. So that should carry me probably through February and a little into March, unless I'm feeling a really happy one weekend and just start binging it. Then on Friday, I'm going to do Star Trek Discovery, season 2, which is on the CBS All Access app. Then on Saturday or Sunday, I'll just look for when I say I'm going to drop it. I'll be doing The Expanse. And then some shows I am considering replacing after The Haunting of Hill House and Preacher is True Detective. And I know this, I think I'm just going to do this spring or summer. I think that'll work better because then Game of Thrones will be on and I really want to do a Westworld Revisited podcast. I started doing top 3, I believe, for my Westworld podcast, but I never really delved into a lot of what was going on in the episode. Usually it was mostly centered around Maeve because that's the most digestible storyline in Westworld, in my humble opinion, and the most, how should I say, emotionally invested. However, analytical wise, I never really talked a lot about a lot of other things in the show that are really cool and fascinating. And I've been listening to so many Westworld podcasts, and there's so much commentary I have that I realize is not being vocalized. So that makes me want to vocalize them with my own podcast of revisiting season 1 and season 2 of Westworld, and just giving my own personal dissertation of how I felt about those 2 seasons, because they were really good. I mean, I think for all the shit that Westworld gets, because it's such a, it's one of those pop culture shows, but it also falls into that, is it too good for its own, breaches type of show, and it gets a lot of opinions, so they always ebb and flow with that. And I think it falls prey to a lot of the media hype of it all and really never focused, or I felt, in my opinion, never gotten the proper attention it deserved to the characters, to the story building, and to the cinematography and the use of music. And I think that unfortunately the theorizing destroyed all of the beauty that was shown and underappreciated. So I really want to give my thoughts on that. So that'll probably be coming in probably late spring. So enough of housekeeping shit. Let's get into this episode because, oh my shit, it's already 10 minutes in. I've just been rambling off. Anyways, The Expanse, IFF, directed by Breck Eisner and written by Daniel Abram and Ty Franck. Hopefully I said that right. It debuted April 18th of 2018 to a rating of 0.500. Yes, I know that's low, but I was looking at the final ratings and they all were over 1 million. So despite I think maybe that's where Sci-Fi was kind of feeling like, oh, well, no one's watching it, the day of. I can't remember when the day it was that it premiered. I just remember it was late. And to the normal working person that would geek out at this type of sci-fi stuff, we got 9 to 5s. So we got to be up in bed at a certain time. So DVRing or, in my case, buying the episode made more sense to me than watching it live. So even if I had wanted to watch it live, I could not have. So I kind of see it from that perspective, but I kind of feel like that was short-lived because it definitely has a fan base and it definitely is a spectacular show. Compared to the other stuff that Sci-Fi has, this is the best show that Sci-Fi had, in my opinion. And okay, and they have not put forth anything good since, because Night Flyers was so disappointing. I was thinking about podcasting that. Nope. Got 2 episodes in and I'm like, hell no. Because the first one I was like, maybe this is just a fluke. Second one I was like, nope, this is where we're going. Nuh-uh. So we start this episode with this beautiful opening shot of greenery. We see a little child, which I immediately knew was May. Prax is in a field planting his plants because that's what he do. And she is calling out to him, and it's at this moment that May wakes up and she's having a bad dream. And as soon as she wakes up, the creepy doctor's like standing over her, Dr. Strickland, and he's like, "Oh, you had a bad dream." He's got like the creepiest. He does not need a response to his smiles. He's like, "I'm just gonna keep on smiling. You're just going to accept all of the answers that I'm giving you, despite them making no sense." He immediately starts injecting this girl. He brings her over to be injected by the meanest nurse in the human planet. He tells her that, "I thought you said you was a big girl," because immediately she says, "I want my daddy." And he says, "Big girls do not cry." And I was like, really? We gonna Fergie reference here? "And you told me you could take care of yourself." And then I guess that was enough to put her on her guard, because she's like, "I did. What is this place?" And I'm thinking the same thing. What is this place? Where have you brought her? I'm thinking it must be right from when they left the, Ganymede? Is that where they left from? Ooh, it's been a minute. Hopefully I will get my shit together. Y'all know where to correct me at, blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. But, yeah, so this must be shortly after she was put in a pod and shipped off. And this is when she's first getting to the station. He tells her that you're going to go with the most unhappy nurse in the world, and she's going to take care of you. And are you hungry? We're going to get you some dinner. And he just keeps smiling despite the fact that she looks like she's completely and horribly creeped out. I wouldn't want to go with that woman either. She like yanked her like she was completely annoyed to be there. And as soon as they're out of sight, he drops the act real quick and puts the pod back going. So they're just, racking the kids out on an assembly line. We find out we are on Io, which we know from last episode that's where our crew of the Roci is heading, because that's where they know they can find little Miss May. And Jules, Pierre, Mal shows up. And I'm like, what the hell? And And Strickland is like, good to see you, sir. And he's like, there's nothing fucking good about it. So he is hella angry because of what happened on the ship with Christian, and how, oh boy, y'all know who I'm talking about. Dada's ugly twin. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name, but Erinwright. Y'all know he screwed him over and told him to get his ass back to work. He treated him like he was his slave. And so he's all types in his feelings right now. I'm wondering, are all the scientists on this station those conscienceless? I know I said that wrong, but you know what I mean. Are they all incapacitated like the scientist that was kidnapped by the one guy from OPA? Like, do they all have their sympathy and empathy and whatever moral compass turned down? Because Strickland is very much a I don't give a fuck kind of dude. I mean, his joy at the idea of just like, he has no qualms about what he's doing to these children. He is all about the science. So he has to be lobotomized in that way, right? Because if this is just a person, it feels like he's something. I mean, I don't know. He takes it a little step too far. So on the UNN escort ship, which I love, they say Erinwright controlled. So you know this is not friendly. Not at all. They are scanning the debris, looking for Bobby and Christian in any ships. And Bobby and Christian are in the Razorback, and they are also watching them scan the debris. And Bobby apologizes about Courtier. And she says, did you kill him? And then she says, no. Then she says, fuck your sorries. And I'm like, Christian, take a chill pill. She was just trying to be nice. You know, I get it. You're stressed out. He's dead. And I mean, you don't know that, but they didn't find nobody. Because they were scanning to see if they could see any other ships, and they did not see anything. Not a thing. So it is definitely assumed that Courtier is dead. I love the graphics in this show. It's so nice. I mean, it's so well done. The attention to detail on the screens, just the way they sit in the Razorback, it's so realistic, especially when they're doing their maneuvering. Oh, I mean, I felt when they were in warp speed or whatever. I know that's Star Trek. Suck it. It was so well done because you felt like Christian and Bobby were just being plastered to the seat, and the acting was just stellar. So this show has always done magnificent when it comes to really building the sci-fi of it all, and that's not something I've seen done in a lot of shows. Star Trek Discovery is pretty good too. But they definitely have a different kind, like things beep and jiggle, and you know, they have this kind of background thing going on to their aesthetic. It's just different. Expanse feels more, I don't know if the word realistic. it feels more to real life than say what's on Starfleet. You know what I mean? Anyway, she tells Christian that they need to wait because she wants to know what they can do. You know, Christian ain't got no patience. And she says, are we safe? And she says, what is your definition of safe? Because we ain't got no guns. This is a 2-seater. Your ass ain't got no training. If they fire on us, a good pilot can dodge these torpedoes. And she asks Christian, that is, are you a good pilot? And she's like, fuck no, I'm a Marine. Pilots fly me to kill things. But I'm good enough to fly this. She didn't do bad. I mean, she didn't do bad for not being a pilot. Even though she did freak out when those torpedoes were coming, though. She was like, shit. I love Bobby so much. She is my second favorite character. Naomi being first, Bobby being second. Christian says that Erinwright got his war when they noticed that there's so many other ships out there. And she's really pissed off about that because she was kind of part of that. Christian, you kind of set up the volley and you fell into what Erinwright was doing and you thought you had him, and man, he took it he took it there. He had a line to cross and he said, hell with it, I'm gonna cross it. He folded that suicide note so damn quick. That's when they are spotted and they have to take off, and you can tell that Christian is way too damn over space, and she's not taking it very well. Like, not at all. She looked like she's about to pass out, and Bobby says they need to send, or no, not Bobby, Christian says they need to send for help, and Bobby says, no, we can't from the ship. The comms are out. But she says, you can still send something from your suit. And she says it'll be MCRN encrypted. And she says, if they pick us up, though, they're going to put us in jail. And Christian's like, jail is better than our place. They try to kill us. So she says, fine, I'm going to send it. It's going to be encrypted, but I'm keeping our names out of it. Then we finally get to our ugly ass fucking name ship called Penis Contorta. It's the Roci. I do not accept that name. The council has decided, and it has been revoked. Prax is doing his gardening. Holden walks into the kitchen area to get his, normal coffee. He's still got that gate going on, so he's still screwed up from his leg being broke. And he sees that, well, he decided to prepare, including the dining room table. And I love that's the first thing Holden says when he finally catches up with Prax and Amos. He's just like, you're gonna put that back together, right? And then Amos like, we gotta eat, right? Love Amos too. Amos. I am really terrible with names tonight. Anyways, I'm loving the bro TP between Prax and Amos. I love how he's like, well, he came up with the idea, and well, Amos did this, and I'm like, oh, they're complimenting each other. And I guess Holden's like, fine, if this is going to help our air circulation, I guess, and filter and make purifiers and whatever, save the earth, let's do it. I help out. I haven't done greenery in a while. And then we check in with Naomi, who rose up on Alex, who is listening to communication about the war, which I find to be interesting because he seems to be the only one really acknowledging the fact that there's a war going on. And they are, for the most part, unaffiliated to any side, so they're mercenaries in a sense. So that kind of puts them in a little bit of a precarious situation because, I don't know, they're like the Kumbaya ship of space right now. They got a little Martian, a little Earther, a little Belter, a crazy ass psychopath, and a green thumb. So there you go. That's a dangerous combination. It tells us that we should have peace. Only peace when one side wins, and they've been wanting this war for too damn long. Anyway, just as Naomi is talking about how she can tweak the fuel to make them burn dirty, to make them seem more like a rock hopper ship, techno babble, they get a distress call from Bobby. And Alex says that it's a identical friend or foe. So that's the title of the show, IFF. Team Roci gets the OSOS, and I'm like, oh snap. I kind of knew it was happening, but oh snap. We go back to Earth unexpectedly. And oh my god, I just realized I didn't provide a rating for this one. Oh my god. I gave this one a 9.1. In case anyone realized that I had not given up this most important information. Anyway, we go back to Earth. And we see that they are rioting. They are not happy about this war. And just as clubs are being tossed, man, do some clubs get tossed. As this barrier breaks, this blonde woman, who we find out is Reverend Anna, kind of pushes one of the police officers off of this boy, who we find out was his name, Colin. He has his wrist broken, and she says, "Is this your first riot?" And he's like, "Yeah," or "No," or something like that. And, he said, "Yeah, this is," because he asked her about, "How about you?" And she says, "I've had my fair share." So he asks her if she's a doctor when she says that it's sprained or broken or whatever, and she says, "Of sorts." And I was like, okay. She tells the officer, who is none too happy to hear it, that Colin needs medical attention and he gonna get his ass there. He yanked him so hard. He's like, my job is to get you not to get you there happily. She tells him that basically, if I don't hear that Colin's okay, you gonna hear from me. She took a club to the face though, and I don't care how many riots you've been in, you should be on the ground bleeding. Because that Billy Club fully struck her. And I feel like her people were not on her protection as they should have been. We go in to the president's office, and he is speaking with Erinwright, who, when Anna comes in, looks all types of jelly. He's like, "Who the hell is this? I have just made my place here. And I'll be dang on if this man and called somebody without my permission and clearly without me knowing." So he gives her this passive aggressive look, but she's barely paying attention to him. She's looking at Esteban. That is his name. Oh, he should be shot on that alone. He needs to go. He's showing himself to be way more slimy, the president that is, than anticipated. And when I say slimy, I mean manipulative, and he feels like a leech is what he feels like. Because all last season, and I'm pretty sure the season before that, I was like, this dude has no balls. None. He is like a puppet. He was especially a puppet for Christian. And she took advantage of that, and Erinwright resented that, and now he has his spot. Now that he's accused Christian of being a traitor, but he can't even keep his spot for 2 seconds because he really don't want you, Erinwright. He had a chance to choose you. He never wanted you. So Anna comes in, and she's all like, "Look, your Marines are out there hitting people." And he tells her that, yeah, things are pretty heated. Everyone's upset about the war. He tells her, how was the trip? And she's like, he thanks her for coming, right? And then she's like, well, I didn't think I have a choice with Marines in my freaking house of worship. And I wanted to say so badly, Marines in the house of worship? And you only get that if you watch Preacher. Only if you watch Preacher. She tells him he tells her that I need you. And she said, bullshit. She said it so quick, like she wanted to slap him. Like, basically, you have kidnapped me to be here, and now you're going to tell me that you need me? And he tells her, not many people talk to me like that anymore, girl. And she immediately goes, you know what, I lost my temper, that's on me. And he's like, no, that's why I want you here, because I need someone to man up on me like Christian used to. And Erinwright ain't it. He's not. I feel like he is someone I can throw under a bus if need be, but I need someone who's gonna prep me up. He tells her that he wants her to write a speech for her. And there's some allusion to their past a lot, because she says that you haven't needed me in a long time. So obviously he kicked her to the curb, and at the dinner scene, that definitely feels like the case. Like he got what he wanted from her, used her, and then pushed her aside because it would have become very evident who was the smart person in the room when they're literally writing your speeches for you. So they got some seriously old beef because she says no. Then she walks up to the window, thinks about it for a second, and says, my church has had some problems with funding, and we have had to resort to drug dealers to get medicine at our clinic. You fund me for a year and I'll write your damn speech. So she all about them Benjamins. And I was like, I like Anna. I like her a lot. She seems like she is very no nonsense, but she also feels very narcissistically selfish. Even though she really doesn't want to be, but she's still a good person. See, you can be very self-invested and narcissistic in a way and still be a good person. You're just selfish in a way that does not and should not include other people. Which I think is going to be a bad thing because she's like married. So, we'll get to that soon. We go back to the Roci, and he goes down to the greenery room, or the greenery club, I should say, and tells them, hey, we got this SOS. A Martian needs my help. We got to help them. Holden is like, without hesitation, nope, I'm not doing it. It's war. I'm not getting in war. I am a bitch when it comes to war. I'm great at it. But he has got a lot of baggage. I realized that this episode more so than I think I gave any attention to last episode. And I did recently watch that one before I watched IFF. And I am really picking up on the very dark trauma. And I think maybe it's because I can see who's the actor who plays him. I'm sorry, I do not know his name. I will do better. I thought I did though. Oh shit, I could Google it, but I don't know where my phone is. But that's gonna bother me because I did know his name. Anyway, I feel like this, even in the first episode, I was really annoyed with him. This episode, I felt more because his acting, I don't want to say it just improved because I don't think he's, a terrible actor on this show, not by any means. But sometimes I think out of all the other characters, I have the hardest time connecting with Holden because I can't see inside his head a lot. And he doesn't really give off a lot. He's kind of, it has felt like he's one-dimensional, even when they have tried anyway to make him, especially with his backstory with his mom and how he was basically, a DNA hatch egg experiment kind of thing. It's all interesting. It just doesn't translate to his current action. So it's really hard to get inside of his head to relate to him. And in this episode, for the first time, I think in a while, I started going, Holden, he got some demons. Because he does some stuff that's really kind of like, damn, Holden, that's dirty. But you can feel that it's coming from a place of fear. Like what he does right now when he starts telling Alex that, no, I promised this man that I'm going to get his kid for him. And I can't do that. He literally dragged, because Naomi was on the mic as well, right? And she was agreeing with Alex, like, hey, they were connected, or it's the Razorback. Yeah, she recognized the signature of the ship. And she's like, come on, this is Julie Mao's ship. We gotta investigate this. This is right up our alley. This is what we've been doing since the Cant exploded, right? So how can we overlook this? And so it's 2 against 2 for the most part. And so he does a little bit of masterful emotional manipulation where he says, no, we have to find this kid. And Alex, you're you're not taking that into consideration, that we are doing that, whatever we're going to do on this ship, that it's more important to this man's daughter. Though I did like when Alex started throwing shade, even though I didn't appreciate the shade, when he said, what, and but I did not, actually I appreciate the shade, but Alex, you've been doing some stuff too. But he gonna say, Holden, you logged the distress call. Naomi made the decision to keep the proto-molecule. I'm feeling a little biased right now. I should be able to answer a fellow Martian in need. That's my duty. I took an oath. And Holden just not having it. He's like, it doesn't matter. That war doesn't matter. He is terrified, though. You can see it despite his words and the way he limps off and the way he just can't even compute the enormity. It's like, oh no, I don't want to go back there. I do not want to deal with any. I want to do something good, which is rescue this man's daughter. I do not want to get dragged back into the proto-molecule shit. I just don't. But he don't know that it's too late. It is too late, Holden. You gotta accept it, babe. It's too late. It's out there. It's in the universe now. Like Naomi told him, he just don't want to come to the realization. We get to Jules, Pierre, Mal, and Erinwright. And Erinwright is chewing his ass out. He's like, I am cleaning up your mess, because he is not happy when he got that text when he was leaving Esteban's office and saying that, hey, basically we fucked up. We chasing her. But he tells him that, look, I want my weapon system. I want it now. He just basically calling him shit. And like, you are my bitch. Like, I still have your family. I still got your shit. And Mal, gangster that he is, because he can't be bossed up on like that. Even if he got him in a pinch, he can't show it. Lose all respect. Gotta have his street cred. And as soon as he hung up that phone, though, he's like, motherfucker. I died. I was like, dang. We getting all types of mafia up in this piece. He tells Erinwright that his accounts are frozen, his family is in exile, and he's bartering. And he ain't happy. The proto-molecule wasn't what they thought it was. And, Erinwright's trying to make him feel better about this. Like, oh, no, it's not. But we got this other thing over here. And you see that he's telling him that the hybrids can lay waste to what happened on Mars, and we can undo everything. Like, see, we'll come with the weapon to save from the proto-molecule, and we'll have the answer, and that will redeem us. Because I'm not sure how bad Mao and Data, horrible Data. You can't unsee it, guys. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But once those two, started down this journey, I think they really were about the best interests of Earth. Yes, they were shady. Yes, they were up to no good. But they wanted the best for their planet, right? You have those people that are just willing to go there to protect their species. And they are really fiercely protected and fearful of Mars. And they, did not intend for it to go this bad, because the proto-molecule is definitely their end game of their exact species. So they're up shit creek without a paddle, which is why Erinwright he couldn't take that L. He could not. He's like, look, Russian man, you got to go. Mars guy, I think is who he was. I said Russian. They go in a lab and they are monitoring the kids, the hybrid kids, like they're freaking lab rats. And it's really sad because those poor babies are just kids with disease thinking they're getting better, and they are injecting them and turning them into weapons. We go back to the Razorback, and as they are flying still through space to try to avoid being locked on by the missiles, because they have been spotted by that ship of Erinwright's, she realizes that Christian is looking not so well. And she's like, do you have tunnel vision? She's like, it feels like I'm in a fucking tunnel. And then she's like, sharp headache. And then she's like, why are you asking me these questions, basically? And then she's like, I'm just trying to see if you're having a stroke. And she tells her to clench her thighs. And Christian, who does not want to show fear whatsoever, girl, let it out. Just let it out. I know you're around a Marine, but let it out. She says, if you're hitting on me, I'm flattered, but she can't even hold on to it because she knows that sentence alone just probably crushed her whole entire chest cavity. Then she says, oh, fuck it. What does clenching do? And she says something about it keeps the blood circulating. And then she tells her whistle helps with her breathing. And she is kind of, lamenting, Christian that is, that I never thought I'd see the day where, a Martian would be worried about me, who I'm an Earther. And I was like, oh, Martian and Earther sitting in the tree. Bobby and Christian, L-O-V-E. And Bobby says that they're on the right side. Because she's like, there is no sides, it's just the right side. So basically, hey, my Earth screwed you, my Earth screwed me. And obviously we are the same people in an insane battle for power. Bobby tries to slow down, but as she does, it's end game. They are locked on because she's like, shit. And they have to keep going, and she speeds it up, and Christian starts whistling, and I really did feel bad for her at that moment because I'm like, oh, I can imagine if that was like I hate roller coasters, so I feel you, Christian. That must be the worst thing ever for her to be experiencing, and she's frail. She may be a tough old cookie, but she's still old. Then you see this really cool ass, because they think they're dead, because Bobby's like, sorry, and Christian's like, you have nothing to be sorry for, because they think they're about to die. There's no way they're about to outrun these torpedoes, because Bobby said earlier, I can't dodge no torpedoes. And you see this really cool shot of these other two lights go past them and then explode, and then you see the torpedoes go into the explosion, and I have no freaking clue what really happened. And all you see is, Christian asking what the hell happened, because they stop and they look outside and they're like, they're not supposed to do that, and the missiles are protecting the ship, the Razorback. And the most I can surmise in this whole sequence of Holden's plan, which is pretty badass, is that Naomi somehow took control of the missiles, because she said, I swapped 2 of theirs for 2 of ours. And then they put the explosion out there to make them feel like, to stop them from, I don't know, to attract them. I don't know. I thought at first it was to just make it seem like they had hit their target. But then they're still plotted, because Holden tells everyone they got to get ready, because it's obviously not over. And you see Alex praising Holden. He's like, that's a damn good plan there, Captain. And he tells him that you must have graduated from the academy with like honors to have pulled that off, or have come up with that, or been taught that, or whatever. And he's like, I enjoy any minute of it. And that was another tie that Holden is good at war. He just don't like it. We find out that Brax broke the tie. Because Amos is like, well, that's sure swell of you to want to go out and help these strangers you know nothing about, who could, potentially screw up the chance of you getting your daughter back. And Prax is securing a locker that Amos told him to secure, and we find out he don't do it well. And Prax says, look, strangers are helping me find my daughter. I can't deny that. I can't do any less. And, I love the reference that Amos makes, like, just for another jarhead. And when he says, I can't do less and a stranger is helping me, that's in reference to Amos. Like, you're helping me. I'm a stranger. You don't know who I am. And yet you're doing all of this to protect me. Look at all he does in the next effing scene to protect him. And how could I not repay that when someone asks it upon me and I am in a position to do it? And if I'm the person that's going to break the tie between you guys, then yeah, I'm going to break the tie, because Holden said that he's a member of this crew. So they have adopted Prax. I feel like, it was a short adoption period, but we are now official. We go back to Anna. She is in her room and she is greeting her lovely black wife. And she's talking about Esteban. She says he doesn't bring out the best in her. She is very bitter and very angry, I should say. And she's just like, what am I doing here? I should be back home. And the wife is like, girl, get paid. We gonna be here. And we find out they have a lovely, lovely daughter who looked a lot like both of them, because she was biracial, right? So either they just picked a biracial daughter, or maybe in the future, a woman and a woman can, well, I guess you just could have, I don't know. Don't even ask me, because I'm just going to talk genetics and I don't know anything about genetics. So sometimes don't even just go down that rabbit hole. But we find out she's a gay minister. So that's very progressive. I like how Earth's going. They may all be on food stamps, but they definitely are being more progressive in their religion. So I love that. That was a great change. We go back to Amos and Prax, and he has not locked the locker properly. Like you ding dong. And apparently Holden is going to have Alex and himself do this crazy ass maneuver, because Alex looks, I don't even know what it is. I just saw circles looping around and I was like, that looks like it is going to make me vomit. So they're going to do some crazy move to evade their captors and get them away and fire upon them, because they have more torpedoes. They say, get the torpedoes ready. And they said, he said that they have way more than we do, and that's why they have to do this crazy maneuver. But the locker has all of these weapons in it, and all the stuff that they were using that could be unsafe when there's 0G. So all this stuff goes flying across the room, and it cuts the oxygen for Prax. He can't breathe, and Amos is so calm at first. He's just like, so just reach behind you, dude, and just plug yourself back in. You got it? Just a little to the left there. No, a little to the right. Yeah. Oh, fuck it. I guess I'll come help you. He ends up not only basically plugging his behind back in, but there's this really awesome scene of a drill coming at Prax, and he just catches it right before it penetrates his mask or his helmet. I was like, oh my god, you're like his guardian angel twice. It's crazy. Amos is like the guy you want to have on your team. That's all this scene affirmed for me. We go back to dinner at the general secretary's house. You see Anna sitting all by herself, the only female in the room, mind you. So progressive, yes, but still sexist as hell. You see all the men talking about what's going on in the war. She doesn't look that interested anyway. She's watching what's happening with Venus on the news. And she gets a message from Colin saying thank you. And I'm like, who gave you her number? I didn't see none of her guys. Well, she probably sent one of her people to go check on him. But anyway, he says thank you. She's very happy about it. And this random dude just walks over. And oh my God, I just like wanted to clock the hell out of this man the entire time. The fact that, he gonna talk about, sorry to disturb your dinner. Then gonna just interrupt her anyway. And start randomly bombarding her with her own identity. Like, oh, you made Esteban's speech. Oh, here's this photo or this video of you. Isn't that you right behind there? Yeah, that's me. Okay. What do you need, fella? You just came over to what? Confirm? Deny? I don't understand. He asked, okay, I may have misheard this, but I could have sworn he said, did you write it? And I'm like, because she replied, I share the blame. So, like, she's a speechwriter and okay, whatever. Anyway, maybe he was asking, did you write the speech? Like, maybe he had found some video of her and he was doing some other speech. And he's like, well, do you remember that speech? Did you write that speech for him? And then she's like, I share the blame. And he probably put his name and her name on it, but she did like 99% of the work. He referenced something on Wikipedia that just happened to coincidentally be accurate. Anyway, she definitely regrets the man she made because he ain't shit. And he comes to the table with his ain't shit friend named Erinwright, who immediately bristles at the presence of Anna just breathing, apparently, and starts to ask her about the Abergast, which is on Venus. And he's like, ain't it crazy? The whole ship got, torn apart and blah, 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 blah. And Anna is like, this is a reminder that there are bigger things in the universe and that we should realize our ego. And she looks directly at Esteban like, don't think I was going to sugarcoat things when we had company too. Just so you know that. He don't look bothered by this at all. He looks like he is thrilled. The way he is sitting back there like a little leech. He's trying to pit someone up against Erinwright because he's willing to back whoever can put this man in his place. I feel like he hates him. I don't know why that is, but I do. Anyway, he is looking between the two of them because, whatchamacallit, Erinwright asked her something about, her being a woman of faith. And she says, people ask that question when they're trying to be sarcastic. And they come in and they're talking about, do you know what the protomolecule is? And then there goes idiotic fool again talking about, I bet you Jules Pierre Mal knows there's a bounty on him and it's reached like 1 million or something, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I bet it'll be a belter that gets it. They love money. The way he even said it, I bet it'll be a belter. They love money. You are black, sir. And who would not love money when your planet is on welfare? What kind of stuff? And then Erinwright does at least call him on it because he's like, oh, he must be a belter too. Like, what kind? You talking out of your ass right now? Come on now. Don't throw out some hypocritical racist shit. That sounds exactly like a racist though. I don't know why I'm going on like this dude is. It's just weird to me. But that's what? That's interesting because that's a race war on a different level of race. If you think about it in this show, it's not about your skin tone that is creating the race divide. It's your planet. So that's really wow, so I'm supposed to feel this way about this guy and have it, you could see why someone like Naomi would be dumb or naive, I should say, to trust an Earther. Like, Earther has it, Mars has it, both don't like the belt. Yeah, I think I need to take this for my team, because we can't have that. We cannot have that when they clearly are so very blatantly racist. They talk about what they can do with Mal's children, and Anna looks so freaking appalled. She looks appalled because Erinwright's like, oh, we could just squeeze them or something. He kind of alludes to torturing them. And Anna's like, bitch, it's a warm crime. Look it up. She looked at that table so quick. Like, you got to be out of your mind. Like, if you think I will not turn on you and put you before a Senate the second you even think, if I hear a word. Oh, she looked like she wanted to cut someone at that table. And I loved Anna even more. Loved her. And Esteban is like thrilled because everyone's all silent and just like, are you serious? This is what we doing right now? Because I feel like, I hate to say it, while we love Christian so much, I love her to death, but I feel like if this was Christian 2 years ago, Christian would be sitting in that room having this conversation and she would have no qualms about it. Remember that we were introduced to Christian Avasarala when she was torturing a belter. Never forget that. And I think oh my gosh, when you come face to face with Naomi in the next episode, if it's going to be the next episode, you cannot underestimate that fact and that tension between them, despite where they're at right now. And you always have to keep that in the back of the mind. I know I do personally, because I do love this character, but I also know that she came from a place of growth and from a place of understanding. And that took time. She was not that person, and she has not always been a certain person that is starting to see the greater side of things. She's still Earth first. And despite her making her alliance, it's going to be interesting to see when and if she gets her name cleared, how she will now approach. Say she gets her name cleared and she gets her status back. How is she going to apply those new lessons to how she handles her politics in the future? So that's something you have to I always look at Christian as a building story, like every other character in this show. Moving on to Esteban talking about she's always like this. Then he says the kicker, get used to it. I know Erinwright just pissed his drawers. He was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he is telling me to my face that, oh no, she will be the check on your power, Erinwright. And I did it to protect myself, because she's not going to let me go down, and she's going to be on my side, and you're going to be the bad guy in these scenarios. He did it brilliantly. So yes, he is a slime snake ball. We got to watch Esteban. They're still, I love the line, they're still shooting at us. It's nice to know that they still care. Between Bobby and Christian. This was definitely the episode regarding them bonding, right? Building that up in the future. And I'm guessing that Bobby's just going to be her bodyguard. Now, I don't think I said it. I have not read all the Expanse books, so I don't know any spoilers, except for things I may have heard in a chat that it was accidentally spoiled on me. So then I was like, tell me more. So I will try to keep as much as that out but I don't know a whole lot about, like, I don't know anything about Anna. I don't know anything what's going to happen with Christian. I don't know anything that's going to happen with Bobby. I don't know these things. So the little things I have been spoiled on is mostly Naomi related. So, Amos, I already finished up that scene where he was helping out the doc who was freaking the fuck out, and he saves him. And as soon as we went back to Io, I was like, why the fuck are we back here? I wrote it down in my notes. I was upset. Strickland is still selling Jules hard on his awesomeness with the protomolecule. He's like, no, we can control it by using the children. We're meant to do this, man. And then we see May getting her shot. And that was not a shot. That was she impaled that girl. She literally knifed her with that needle. That's going to cause some serious damage. Like, she didn't even flinch, like she was not just seriously murked. Anyway, we see this kid, Katoa, in the background who's playing around. And she's like, Katoa, they don't tell me where my daddy is. And Nurse Meanie puts her hands on, like, I ain't done with you yet. And, just as, Strickland's going on and on about what he can do with the protomolecule using these kids and how their viruses, how they can control it, he says it's fascinating. And then he says he sells his, what is that? His selling point. He says, we may be able to stop what's happening on Venus. And then Jules Pierre Mal, because he has killed his daughter, he's lost his career, he's lost his money, he's lost his family. They're being hunted like dogs. He's lost his respect. He's like, do what you have to do, because he needs to come out this a winner. And Dr. Strickland, why did they have that face camera pan of him just looking out like, oh? I'm like, and ain't he been doing what he wanted to do this the whole entire time? Like, how worse can it possibly get for these children? They're already being pumped with it, as we see with Katoa, because he's like showing off his glowy little arm to May, and she's looking at him like, that don't look right. That's not okay. The Roci escapes due to Holden's bold ass plan, and they are able to get the Razorback. And we immediately see that Bobby comes out with a half-dead Christian, and she's carrying her, and she says, you have to save her. And Holden's face was so horrified. I just say it because he really did have that, you've got to fucking be kidding me. Didn't I just, like, the worst thing that could have happened to him? The woman who found his mother, who has been using him as her poster boy in this war in the first place with the Cant, is now on his flipping ship? Like, come on. Now he's being yanked back into it, and he don't want to. His fears have come a-knocking. Poor Holden. So if you want to send feedback, you can send that to blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. You can find this podcast on Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes at Black Girl Couch Reviews. You can find me on my social medias at ChristinaJ16831 on Twitter and Slowly Androgynous Miracle on Tumblr. It's been real, guys. Can't wait till next episode. Peace.